Now we'll learn about section 21, that is fencing of machinery. This section mostly talks about fencing of all the machinery which are in motion, and any accident can occur if any person comes in contact with this machinery when it is in motion or in operation. Now various machinery has been given which I already listed over here. The first one is transmission machinery. Transmission machinery is something like gear set, or a belt pulley which are used to transmit power from prime mover to the application. So this has to be properly fenced. Similarly, every part of electrical generator has to be securely fenced by safeguard, and it should be of good construction. Similarly, prime mover. Prime mover is something like an engine or a motor is a prime mover. Okay, so all the part of this motor has to be properly fenced. Now in this case, as you can see, this pulley bar, it's open, and if someone comes in contact over here, it might lead to an injury. Now this has to be properly fenced. Similarly, any part of stock bar which projects beyond the headstock of lathe. Now this is a lathe machine and this is a headstock. Any part of the stock bar which will come over here has to be securely fenced, so that due to any reason the accident should not occur. In case the part get loosened and it throws off, it should not hit the person who is operating this machine, so this area has to be properly fenced. Similarly, headrace and tailrace of every water wheel and water turbine. Now this part is called as headrace, where water enters, and this is the tailrace where water exit. Now this is just a schematic picture of water wheel. Similarly, in case of water turbine, the headrace and tailrace has to be securely fenced so that no injury occurs. Similarly, there could be many other parts which are in motion or which might lead to injury when in operation. So all this part has to be securely fenced, and the fencing has to be of good construction. Now there are certain cases, such as if you want to do examination, or any adjustment is required, or obligation is required when the machinery is in motion. During such cases, what are the standards that are to be followed? Okay, what are the criteria that has to be taken care of are also mentioned in this act. Okay, section 22 will speak about what are the things that has to be taken care of while examination, lubrication, adjustment, okay, of a moving machinery. So we'll move on to our next subsection. Now we'll learn about the next subsection. In this subsection, the state government has been given the power to frame rules and prescribe such further precaution in case of a particular machinery. The state has different types of machinery depending upon the factory present in the state, so it can frame such rule to take further precautionary measure in case of such machinery, or exempt any machinery from such provision. And in case if you want to exempt any machinery from this section or provision, it can do that, but provided it has to ensure that the worker safety is not compromised. They can exempt any machinery provided they should ensure the safety of workers. So we'll move on to the next section. Now we'll be learning about section 22, that is work on or near machinery in motion. In case of certain factories, machinery run continuously, and to carry out an examination or maintenance work such as adjustment or lubrication, stopping of the machine is not viable. So the person who is working has to carry out work while the machinery is in motion. Now this section sets standard that has to be taken care of while allowing any person to work on or near machinery in motion. The first one is that while the machinery is in motion, such examination shall be carried out only by a specially trained adult male worker wearing tight-fitting clothing. Now the person who is working on or near machinery has to be a male worker and has to be completed 18 years of age. And about the clothes, he should be wearing tight-fitting clothing. The next one is that adult male worker name has been recorded in the register and provided certificate of appointment. Now the made adult worker, adult means person who has completed 18 years of age. Now he should be a male worker, it cannot be a female worker. The adult male worker name has to be recorded in register. That means this register form has been given by the state government, and he should carry a certificate of appointment from the factory. The next one is that examination can be carried out only after ensuring certain condition of belt pulley and fencing of gear shaft. Now there are certain standards which are set for belt and pulley and gear shaft. Without considering that, work on belt or pulley or gear shaft shall not be taken. Similarly, set screw, screw bolt, key should be securely fenced to prevent any contact. Next standard is that no woman or young person shall be allowed to clean, lubricate or adjust any part of prime mover or of any transmission machinery is in motion. Now woman or young person means person who is child as well as adolescent. Okay, a person whose age group is between 15 years to 18 years is a young person. So no woman or young person shall be allowed to clean, lubricate or adjust any part of prime mover. Prime mover here in this case may be engine or a motor. This is called a prime mover, or any transmission machinery. Transmission machinery is a belt pulley or a gear system. So in such cases the woman or young person should not be involved while the machinery is in motion. Now the next subsection is the state government may prohibit in any specified factory from the cleaning, lubrication or adjustment by any specified person of parts of machinery when those parts are in motion. Now here the state government has been given the power to prohibit certain factories, especially if the state government feels that the certain machinery might cause injury or accident, then they may prohibit such factory from carrying out cleaning, lubrication or adjustment, okay, by a specified person, especially when machinery is in motion. So we'll move on to our next section. Now we'll be learning about section 23, that is employment of young person on dangerous machines. Now this section especially speaks about what are the list of precautions that is to be taken before employing a young person on dangerous machine. Now what is a young person? Young person is a person who can be either a child or an adolescent. A child is a person who has not completed 15 years of age. An adolescent is a person whose age group is between 15 to 18 years. So young person is a person who has not completed 18 years of age. So such person shall not be allowed to work on a machine unless the following precautions are taken. So we'll go through this one by one. Young person shall be allowed to work only after the following things. The first one is that fully instructed as to danger arising in connection with the machine and the precaution to be observed. Before a young person is put on a machine, he should be clearly and completely instructed as what are the dangers present in the machine and what are the precautions that he has to take in order to counter such danger. Next one is that has received sufficient training in work at the machine. A young person should be properly trained as to regards to SOP of the machine, that is standard operating procedure, or how to operate the machine. Okay, so such training should be provided to the young person. Next one is he should be under adequate supervision by a person who has thorough knowledge and experience of the machine. Even after providing instruction and training, young person shall not be allowed just to work alone on a machine. He should be under a constant supervision of a person who is knowledgeable and experienced in operation of such machine. So these are the list of precautions that has to be taken before employment of young person on dangerous machine. And now we'll learn about section 24, that is striking gear and devices for cutting off power. This section especially speaks about striking gear and other mechanical devices which are used to move the driving belt from fast pulley to loose pulley and vice versa, and also prevents its accidental return. This section also speaks about devices for cutting off power in case of emergency, and also arrangement to prevent the accidental starting of machinery. This section has got three subsections. The first one says that Suitable striking gear shall be provided and maintained and used to move driving belt to and from fast pulley and loose pulley, and it should prevent belt from creeping back onto fast pulley. And the second clause is that driving belt when not in use shall not rest on shaft in motion. So we'll learn this via this diagram. So this diagram shows a driver which is connected to a prime mover, which might be an engine or a motor, and on which a belt is placed. And further to this, on this shaft there are two pulleys, one is the loose pulley and one is the fast pulley. The loose pulley is the one which moves freely and independent of the shaft, which means that loose pulley moves, the shaft will not move. And second pulley is the fast pulley, which is a driven pulley. So the pulley moves, the shaft moves. The shaft is connected to the machine will also operate. And this is a striking gear or a shift fork, which is used to move this belt over the loose pulley and the fast pulley. So the first clause says that there should be a striking gear or any other such mechanical appliances which should be used to move this belt over the fast pulley and the loose pulley. Okay, and this striking gear should be such that it should prevent the accidental return from loose pulley to fast pulley. Now why this is said is that if the belt is on the loose pulley, okay, and accidentally without the movement of the striking gear it moves on to the fast pulley, then what will happen? Since this pulley is connected to the machine will operate and it might create an accidental situation. So the striking gear should be such that it should prevent accidental return of the belt from the loose pulley to the fast pulley. And the second clause says that the belt when it is not in use shall not rest on this driven pulley or the fast pulley. It should be resting on the loose pulley, because if it is not in use and if it is resting on this driven pulley, and by accident if this driver starts, okay, in case the engine or the motor start, the machine will automatically start, and that again will lead to an accidental situation. So we'll move on to our next subsection. Subsection 2. Suitable devices for cutting off power in emergencies from running machinery shall be provided. Now during an emergency situation, machine has to be stopped immediately by cutting off its power. So suitable devices shall be provided which will cut off the machine power and stop it immediately. Now here you can see in this picture emergency stop button. This is used in most of the machine in almost all the factories. Now how it operates is like you just have to push the button, and the moment the button is pushed it will cut off the supply to the machine and the machine will stop immediately. So this is one kind of device which is used to cut off the power to the machine and stop it immediately, and it is used basically in case of a emergency situation. Now we'll learn about subsection 3. Arrangement shall be provided for locking the device in safe position to prevent accidental starting of the transmission machinery or other machines. Now there are certain devices which are provided in a factory to cut off power, and if they start accidentally it might lead to an accident. So arrangement shall be provided for locking such devices in safe position to prevent accidental starting, because if these devices start then it might initiate transmission machinery and it will lead to starting of the machine, and which might lead to accident. So such devices shall be locked in safe position. With this we'll move on to our next section, which is self-acting machines.